again, we were talking about some questions, and let's continue that particular discussion. We were at first topic of the day, right? And MCQ2 we were doing. What distinguishes dark energy from dark matter? Just give me a second. Again, we were talking about. Yeah. Fine. So, distinguishes dark energy from dark matter. I think some of you answered this question. So, dark energy derives accelerated expansion, or drives rather accelerated expansion of the universe because it is repulsive by nature. Cool. So, C is the answer. MCQ 3 of the day. Which of the following correctly differentiate matters from energy? And this is one basic. Yeah, 2 is C. Very good, Annie. What is the answer of MCQ 3, Annie? If you can state it. Which of the following correctly differentiate matters from energy? It's not about dark matter and dark energy, it's just matter and energy. We have discussed what is matter, what is energy, how they are different from each other, and in that regard we are talking about dark matter and dark energy. So anyone, can you give this answer, or shall I say it? I will give you 10 seconds. Matter has no mass, energy has mass. Matter occupies space, energy does not. Diksha has given the answer. Diksha Harat. So matter occupies space, energy does not. Matter occupies space, matter has mass. So answer is B. Third B as stated by Diksha. Very good, yaar. Then next article of the day, page 6 editorial GS1 GS2, the story of we the moving people. GS1 why? Because population is in GS1. And GS2 why? Because this is about policy, this is about so many things, and this article is talking about how people are moving from one place to another, domestically, internationally. Very good, Shipurna. And how that is leading to changes in so many things. Let's say people of Bihar, they're moving from Bihar to Maharashtra, so more political voices are there. Good morning, Shipurna. So more political voices are there in Maharashtra, and underrepresentation of people are there in Bihar. Maybe actual people like me, who is from Bihar, who is in Gurgaon, who rarely goes to Bihar. So we are not getting represented in adequate numbers in Bihar. So many things. And not only this, NRI people, Under Representation of Peoples Act, non-resident Indians, they have a right to vote in India, but for that they have to come to India. If they're coming to India, then they can get the right to vote. And they have talked about why like they need to come to India. They can vote from there also. Arrangements should be made in this online world. So many things are happening. Nativist policies means more and more countries, they want to ensure that you are, if you are going to their country, you're staying there for a certain period, you're not staying there for the, or you don't get citizenship. What I'm trying to say, or what this article is trying to say, is they are trying to make situations tougher for you to gain citizenship. And this migration is having a lot of say in current day and world. So citizenship, again, you can see here, traditionally linked to residence within a confined territory. Migration, both internal and international, is disrupting the link. What this article is saying, basically, my voter ID card is from Bihar, but I don't go to Bihar. So there is a link, there is a breakage of linkage when it comes to residency and citizenship. And here we're talking about state citizenship. So urbanization, migration caused people to register in multiple places. Like Prashant Kishore, he had a voter ID of both Bengal and Bihar. All these things are creating issues, duplicate voters, and all these things are happening because of migration. Migration is just breaking apart everything. I have a voter, I'm living in Gurgaon, I have a voter ID of Bihar. Somebody is doing work in US, NRI. He is a citizen of not US but India. He wants to become a citizen of US, but they are making things more difficult by limiting H1B visa, this and that. So many things are happening because of migration, both internally as well as in external world. Share of migrants in global population has increased only marginally. In percentage term, the increase is marginal. In absolute numbers, they have doubled. What does it mean? The population of migrants as well as non-migrants are increasing, but absolute numbers have increased. Migration is rising faster than the global population growth. This has led to nativist populism. Remember these keywords, guys, they're important. Nativist populism means what? Make America great again. Our people, American people, they are the ones who actually matter. Like Shiv Sena in Maharashtra, they do this nativist policies, Marathi Manush, Marathi Asmita, and all. I'm not saying this is good or bad. We are just talking about what is nativist policy, or means, politics, so to say. And this is increasing in India. and outside India as well. Although in India, you can say that politics has declined, or we can debate on that, but in different countries, they're increasing. Immigration remains the top three political issues, and all these things are happening because of migration. So, what we are trying to see in this article, what is the impact of migration internally as well as externally? Temporary migration and labor without political rights. Countries increasingly prefer temporary migrant workers. You can see because of the rise in this nativist populism, they want their own people to get jobs, to get benefits and all. So that's why, and they don't want people from outside to gain citizenship and this and that. So that's why H1B visa restriction has happened. GCC countries, Gulf Cooperation Council countries, UPSC has already asked a PYQ, which we have solved. If you people have not solved PYQ on GCC, solve it. So they also allow migrant labor. Citizenship is very difficult to get in these GCC countries. And Singapore is also making things tougher and tougher. So migrants form a labor class without political rights. NRI, they're living in US for a longer period of time, but they cannot vote there. And in India, if they have to vote under Representation of People's Act, they have to come and then they can vote. So they are neither here nor there, leading to so many issues. Returning migrants may carry new political and social attitude. So let's say people who are coming from US, they have their own perspective how India should be and how we are so different from what they aspire India to be, because of what thinking they have developed when they were there. So total overseas India is 35.4 million Indian citizens. You can see here, Representation of People's Act. This article is so interesting from so many different perspectives. GS1 population, GS2 you have governance and policies and all, and then in GS2 diaspora. So you have to understand Representation of People's Act. This is also explicitly mentioned in your GS paper too. It allows NRI to vote in Indian place of residence. So you have to come, you have to have a physical presence. Why not allow them to have a remote voting? That is the talk which is going on, and it is Supreme Court is hearing this petition. So internal. So this is what we are talking about externally. Internal, state and regional boundaries or borders matter politically. So what does it mean, sir? And this migration. So Maharashtra and Kerala, they are migrant receiving states. More and more people are going to these regions. Bihar, migrant sending states. So what does it mean? Hope you are understanding. The people of Bihar, they are not there to vote for their causes and concerns, because ultimately they have to go back to their homeland. Many of them have to. So all these changes are happening because of this migration, and that's what we are talking about. An internal and external change. Demographic change in urban politics. Mumbai, Marathi speaker less than 40%, Hindi speaker 30%, but still there is a decline of nativist parties like Shiv Sena. You can debate whether there is a decline or not, but yes, there is this whole thing, me or othering of different communities. But now the situation has reached to a certain point that people, Bhojpuri actors of different regions, they are fighting from Delhi and all. I'm not saying people who are speaking Bhojpuri are not in Delhi. I'm just saying that migrant communities are also being fielded by these political parties. So migration is having a lot of impact. Cultural transmission is happening. In Maharashtra, Hindi speaking people, non-Marathi people are coming, impacting their culture, language, beliefs, and rituals. All these are impact of migration. Deepavali celebration at White House, external impact of migration. So you cannot disregard migration. Immigration and immigration. We talk about two immigration. Immigration with an E, that means you are exiting a country. Immigration with an I, that means you are entering another country. So remember these words, they are actually important. Cool. And we have seen what is the impact of migration, both internally as well as externally. I'm from Maharashtra, and yes, worst political condition. Diksha, so are you a Marathi, Diksha? Future political consequences for India. Migration will shape census outcomes, electoral rolls, delimitation. Now, Lok Sabha seat redistribution will happen. Southern states, they are the ones who feel like they will be facing a lot of issues, because they have lesser population and they'll be impacted. They will get lesser seats, thereby lesser voice, and all these things are not good. And the four fulcrum of all these issues are migration. Migration is becoming a central force. Core takeaway, you can see all these things. It is redefining citizenship, voting rights, blah blah blah. Moving people moves history, and it is moving history both internally as well as externally. We have seen how people of Bihar, they are having more say in Marathi politics than Bihar, the politics of Bihar, because we are migrating a lot to Maharashtra. So all these things we have to keep in mind. Now, in that regard, have a look at this particular mains question. Large-scale migration has disrupted the traditional link between citizenship, territory, and political participation. So here you have to talk about whatever we have discussed. How the link has, earlier there was the scenario that wherever you are residing, you will have voter ID of those particular places. But all these things are getting disrupted because of migration. And what is happening? Maharashtra having more Bihari voice than Bihari, like Bihar having that voice, because people are migrating from Bihar to Maharashtra. Outside NRI representation of People's Act, they have to come to India. They have to have a physical presence. On the other hand, their physical presence is in US. So all these things are getting disrupted. People from different regions, people from Bihar settling in Delhi, having their political voice in Delhi. People from Bihari origin of Bihar, etc., they are getting represented by political parties in different other states. So all these things are happening because of migration, which has disrupted the traditional link between citizenship, territory, and political participation. So you can talk about all these numbers, how citizenship has been tied to your territorial residence. I'm from Bihar, but now I have, maybe if I will have some say, if I stay in Gurgaon for 20 years, I will have more say in this politics or the politics of Gurgaon than, let's say, of Bihar. So all these things have changed: internal and international migration. Disruption of citizenship territory link. Migrants often live and work away from their place. You can read all these things. Electoral challenge. Sir, it has to be revised to ensure duplicate or double voting is not happening. Prashant Kishore, citizen of both Bengal as well as Bihar, and he has voter ID of both. Sir determines not just who votes, but where one votes. And again, you can read all these things. I'm not reading these things. Marathi Mulgi. Okay, Diksha. Then you know Telugu, oh my god. Overseas citizen and disenfranchisement. So what is happening with overseas people, our NRI people? They can vote, but they have to be here. So for voting, for one day, they have to come from US and vote. Why not remote voting? Again, a problem created by migration. Political consequences, migrant receiving states. Means Maharashtra, Kerala, they gain political influence. They gain people from other regions. They are coming to that region, becoming a part of their culture, and then having a say in their politics. Migrant sending states, Bihar, risk underrepresentation, which is happening actually. I'm not happy with how Bihar is being run right now, but I cannot do anything about it. So, conclusion: migration necessitates rethinking electoral design. Maybe I should also have a remote voting. Even if I'm from Bihar, I have a voter ID card. Instead of having sir and this and that, give me remote voting. Allow me to vote from Gurgaon for my Bihar election. Why not remote voting internally? Why only for NRI you're talking about it? So technology enabled inclusion must balance anti blah blah blah. You can read all these things. Hope you understood the basic crux of this article. Let's solve some questions. With reference to concept of citizenship, consider the following statement. Citizenship has historically been linked to territorial residence. Large scale migration weakens the overlap between citizenship and place of residence. And again, use option elimination. Migration has no impact on political participation in democracies. So if you have a look at these statements, migration has no impact. We are just talking about how much impact it can have. People of Bihar, they can have a lot of impact in people politics of Maharashtra. So third is wrong. If you eliminate third, Satrughan Sinha, he is in Maharashtra more often than not. He is having more say in Marathi politics than say the politics of Bihar. Even if though not directly, then indirectly. So C, you can eliminate C and D. You're left with A and B now. Second is there in both of them. So citizenship has historically been linked to territorial citizenship. Yes. So A is the answer as stated by N.E. and Shripunna. Very good here. MCQ 5. Consider the following statement regarding migrant labor regimes. So have a look at these questions and again try to eliminate option and try to solve this. And this is your homework, guys. Solve that UPSC PYQ and GCC. Revise all the countries of GCC. PYQ has been asked on Gulf Cooperation Council. So GCC countries allow long-term migrant workers but deny political rights. H1B visa holders in US have an immediate pathway to citizenship. Developed countries are increasingly favoring temporary migration models. So H1B visa holders do not have an immediate pathway to citizenship. They are making it more and more like it's a way to ensure that you are not becoming a citizen. If you go back and if you see what is written here, let me show you. You see this. Countries prefer temporary migrant workers without citizenship pathway, and that's why they have this H1B visa worker category. GCC countries, they have this migrant labor category. They don't want you to get citizenship, and they want to create as tough condition as possible. So it's not H1B visa does not makes things easier for you. No, it doesn't. So just give me a second, guys. So if we come and if we see this the way the options have been framed. H1B visa holders, they do not have an immediate pathway to citizenship. Second is wrong. Now you have to check the third one. One is there in both the options. Developed countries are increasingly favoring temporary migration models. Yes, that's what they are doing. They are like, you are there for a temporary period and then you have to go back to your home country. We are not very interested in giving you citizenship, so to say. So the answer is B, Shripurna. Hope you are understanding why the answer is B and not A. Developed countries, US, UK, GCC and all, many of these GCC, not all of them are developed, but yes, they are like, they don't want people from other countries as going there and settling permanently. More often than not, because of increase in nativist policies and populism, they favor temporary means models. One only, yeah, as Diksha is stating. So the answer is A, not B. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Spread the word. You can join these individual courses or you can join this bundle. The prices of these individual courses and bundle will increase from 1st January. You can also donate if I'm adding to your knowledge base. Third article, page 11, GS2, GS3, governance and 5B understood. Cool. So what we were discussing, Rajya Sabha passes bill for 100% FDI in insurance sector. So in insurance sector, LIC is an example. Now foreign entities, they can invest all, or they can take all, bring all of their money and invest here. It's not like there's a cap of 49 or 74%. They have done that to ensure that, foreign entities, they're incentivized to invest in our insurance sector. Opposition are saying that this will kill our domestic insurance player, let's say LIC will not like this whole thing, that foreign players are coming. Competition will increase. Maybe our sector will be, or our insurance sector will be undermined. So insurance sector. Then there's another word, guys, which you have to understand: reinsurance companies. So one is insurance companies, other is reinsurance companies. So reinsurance companies are those companies which insure insurance companies. Insure insurance companies. So the company which will insure LIC, that will be a reinsurance company. There's one company, only one company, major company in India, that is GIC, General Insurance Corporation of India, something like that, which is a reinsurance company. It's like refinance agency you talk about, like RBI. They will not directly finance you. RBI, if needed, they will give money to commercial banks. Commercial banks will give you money. So RBI is a refinance agency. NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. They are refinance agency. They will not directly give farmers loan. They will give loans to, let's say, regional rural banks, and these regional rural banks will give loans to farmers. So they are refinance agency. So remember these words: reinsurance and refinance. 100% FDI allowed in insurance sector. Most of the sectors has been liberalized to a greater extent. Atomic energy is the one which is having restrictions, but Santi bill is being discussed and all these things are happening. So let's see how things pan out. So again, you can see the discussion here. They have also repealed obsolete laws. There is a need for repealing obsolete laws related to leprosy. Also, we have discussed this earlier, leprosy bill and this and that. So again, you can read all the points. Not that important. I will show you what is important from exam perspective. Why FDI limit has been increased. Allowing 100% FDI would attract more foreign insurers, and it will reduce, maybe, and if there are more entities who are coming, competition will be high. Right now, the premiums which you are paying on these insurance, maybe it is more, but if there are more companies, they will give you lucrative options. So maybe the premiums will be reduced. The burden on people, general populace, will be reduced. Opposition demand, they're like, no, there is a far reaching impact. They're asking for PAN and Aadhaar, so maybe it will compromise our safety, maybe it will kill our domestic insurance sector. So there has to be a proper discussion on it, and that's why it has to be sent to a select committee. Don't just pass bill as it is without having proper discussion, which is one of the criticism of this current government. And DMK MP Kani Mozi, he claimed that foreign investors could capture a 600 billion market share and could kill our Indian insurance PSUs like LIC. So let's see how things unfold, because we have to wait and watch in this regard. Let's solve some question, guys. MCQ 6. Representation of, now this is based on the previous article, the Representation of People's Amendment Act 2010 provides that what does it provide? NRI can vote through postal ballot. NRI must be physically present in India to vote. OCI card holders can vote in Indian election. Remote electronic voting is mandatory. What we have just discussed. So we have discussed Shipuna stating NRI must be physically present in India to vote. So B is the answer of MCQ 6. MCQ 7. Which of the following best describes reinsurance? Shipurna, any? Both of you have answered the question. That is B. Reinsurance. What is reinsurance? We have talked about reinsurance companies, refinance companies. So, what are these reinsurance companies? What is reinsurance? 6B, I think, Sarna. Yes, 6B, Rishi. What do you understand by reinsurance companies? Insurance provided by government to citizens, mandatory insurance for public sector undertakings, insurance for insurance companies to spread risk, insurance limited to natural disasters. Shipurna has given the answer C. Insurance for insurance companies. Companies which will insure insurance companies, they are known as reinsurance companies. GIC in India is a reinsurance company. It will insure companies like LIC. Spread risk means earlier the risk of all these things, if you die, your wife has to be paid and all. It was, beer, it was what is the word for it? LIC was the one which was bearing the burden of it, like how much money has to be given to your relatives and all. Now the risk will be spread. Even some amount of risk will be taken by this GIC also, which is insuring LIC company. That's why the term spreading risk. So you have to understand these terms. They're actually important. In economy, these terms actually matter. So C is the answer as stated by Shipurna Rishi and any very good. Next article, page number 8, GS1, GS3. How is the Aravali range to be protected? GS1, geography, GS3, environment, Aravali range. There are so many talks and debates which are going on related to uniform definition of Aravali range. So now they have agreed anything, any range in this vicinity which is more than 100 meter, they will be the ones which will be covering or coming under the ambit. Oh my God, ambit of Aravali hills and ranges. This is a big issue. Let's go one by one. What has happened in this whole issue, and what are the things which are important from exam perspective? First of all, Aravali. We have talked about Aravalis a lot. Remember this, guys. It has been asked by so many different exams. Aravali is not in Punjab. So sometimes they will give you Aravali is located in which region? So Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Gujarat. So three states, one union territory. You have to know the location. And it is, if you see the location of Aravalis, it is preventing the desertif it is preventing the desertification of Indo-Gangetic plains. It is minimizing wind erosion to a certain extent. So it has a lot of roles. It is a region, origin point of so many rivers as well. So it has a lot of ecological impact under UNCCD. United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. India, can you please explain spreading risk for insurance? Spreading risk means what? Spreading, I have just told you, Sripurna, insurance companies, if somebody is insuring insurance companies, that's in that scenario, the chances that LIC will, fail or go bankrupt reduces. That is the spreading risk concept. The risk is divided between insurance companies and reinsurance companies. The risk has been, like, more people are bearing the brunt of that particular risk. The risk has spread it. So that means LIC has lesser chance of a failure if it is being insured by somebody else. That is the basic meaning here. Okay, let's focus, guys. So under UNCCD, United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, India has obligation to, protect Aravalis and to ensure that Aravali is the way it was earlier. It's not being mining and quarrying and all those stuff is not impacting it, and it's not going on the verge of, like, hope you are understanding where I'm going with this. So Supreme Court has issued an order in November 2025 to get a uniform definition. Why? Because we have just seen you have different states, union territory. They have their own definition of what is Aravali. Less than 50 meter, it will not be a part of Aravali hill and ranges, or this and that. Mining can happen. This and that can happen. Supreme Court is like, no, no, no. We want a uniform definition in all these three states and one union territory. There has to be a standard definition of what is an Aravali range, and that will be a standard definition in all these three states and one union territory. Up until that, there will be no fresh mining leases and renewals in Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Gujarat. And what is the significance? It is the oldest mountain range. Desertification is prevented in Indo-Gangetic plains. Then it is a source of Chambal, Sabarmati, and Luni. They can give you. It is a source of Ganga and Yamuna. No, Aravali range is not a source of Ganga and Yamuna. So remember these facts. They're actually important. And again, you can read all these things. Rich in different kinds of minerals. Oh my God. Mining related concerns. This is not a new news which we are reading, but this is expanded news. So excessive stone and sand quarrying is happening there. So all these things. India is bound under UNCCD. Three things emerged from Rio summit. We talk about it all the time. Agenda 21, UNCCD, UNCBD, and UNFCCC. So remember it, United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. Under that, India is bound to protect vulnerable ecosystem like the Aravallis. So we are legally and morally obligated to protect Aravallis, and we should do it. What has happened in Aravallis since early 90s? Environment Ministry restricted mining to sanction projects, but whenever you put a ban, then people used to violate those bans and entities used to violate those bans. So in 2024, Supreme Court was like, no, you conduct a detailed study, CEC, Central Empowered Committee. We don't have to do PhD. Even if you don't know these things, it's fine. Just listen to it like a story and tell us what is happening in Aravali, how we can restrict the stuff which is going on in Aravali. So this Central Empowered Committee, which involved a lot of people, they say that we will do the mapping, we will see the environmental impact assessment of the things which are going on in our adjacent regions around Aravali, how it is impacting Aravali. And if there are some tiger corridors and protected habitats, NCR region, around those regions, mining will not happen. All these things. So they said these things to Supreme Court. Supreme Court was like, fine, now let's come to a uniform definition of what, according to these three states and union territories, is Aravalis, because there is no standard definition. States used inconsistent criteria to identify Aravali formation, and we have to come to a proper, unique, common definition. So again, differing expert definitions created legal and regulatory confusion. So let's say in some regions, hill ranges beyond 70 meters something mining is going on. In some other state, Aravali hill ranges beyond 90-meter minings are going on. So there are different definitions. Come up with a proper definition which will be implemented in these three states and one union territory. In the meantime, Aravali Green Wall Initiative was launched. They can ask you this, guys. Please remember this. This is important. China also came up with a Green Wall Initiative. China, Mongolia, or some other country which we have discussed earlier. So in India, they can ask you that in Himalayas, a Green Wall Initiative was launched in June 2025. That will be wrong. In Aravali, this Green Wall Initiative was launched because so much mining, quarrying, etc. is going on, and we want to restore their degraded land. So these numbers are also important. How much land we want to degrade under this Green Wall Initiative? It was launched in which of these ranges? So keep it in mind. So again, Forest Survey of India and so many other entities, they came together to give a proper uniform definition of what is Aravali and what is the final definition which has been accepted by Supreme Court. Only hills above 100 meters to be classified as Aravali Hill and Ranges. Now, amicus query. Who is an amicus query? He is a neutral entity who will be helping different parties involved in Supreme Court, and in fact, he will be helping judiciary as well to come to a final conclusion. He's saying that this is so wrong. Below 100 meters now you are allowing mining etc. to go on. Center is saying that no, 100-meter threshold is fine, yeah. Because if you keep it somewhat more lesser or something like that, then people will start defying it and these orders, and these things will happen. 100-meter is a proper criteria. FSI criteria would exclude large Aravali areas, and if you go beyond that, 100-meter is fine according to center. And amicus query, the neutral agent, he was not very happy with this 100-meter classification, but Supreme Court has also accepted this, only hills above 100 meters to be classified as Aravali Hill and Ranges. Supreme Court accepted this whole thing. Now, why Supreme Court did not impose a total mining ban? Because there has been a trend which has been seen earlier, isn't it? Africa, who came? No, there were so many other countries also. If you, there are different initiatives. Great Green Wall Tripurna. If you check now, even Mongolia, there is a Gobi Desert and all. So there also they came up with this Green Wall initiative. Do check that out. We have discussed it in our previous Indo analysis. Maybe Africa also did, and there are so many other countries who also came up with this. So Supreme Court did not impose a total mining ban because they used to flout this. Past experience says that when these bans, or you impose a total blanket ban, then illegal mining increases, sand mafia, their work increases, all these things happen. And that's why they have come up with this 100-meter approach. Beyond it or below it, maybe mining will be allowed, maybe not, we don't know. But yes, above 100-meter, there'll be a lot of restrictions now. So again, let's see how these things pan out. Fine. Aravali range is significant. Let's solve this question now. Do check that thing, Shripurna, and tell me in the comment section or whenever China, Mongolia, who came up with that Green Wall initiative related to Gobi Desert and all. You have to answer it. So Aravali region is significant. Why? What is the answer for MCQ 8? Acts as a natural barrier preventing eastward spread of Thar Desert, source of Ganga and Yamuna rivers. We know that it is not the source of Ganga and Yamuna rivers, guys. Aravali is not the source. So if you eliminate second, now you're left with A and D option. right? It now, if you have to check fourth one, just check the fourth one. India's youngest, it's not youngest full mountain, guys. It's an oldest mountain range in India. So fourth is wrong, and the answer is A, 1 and 3 only, as stated by Shupurna. Cool. China, sir. Cool, cool, cool. So page 6 editorial, GS2, GS3, change for the worse. Manrega. Now everything has been changed about Manrega. It has become VBG Ramji Bill. Oh my God. How they are naming it. Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rojgar and Ajivika Mission Grameen. VBG Ramji. And Gandhi, they have replaced the name because RSS, they don't like Gandhiji. They have historical differences with Gandhiji. I should not be using the word G. They don't like Gandhiji, and he has also given the answer. Now, earlier it was a demand-driven scheme, guys. Demand-driven scheme means I am working or I don't have work, and I am in rural areas, working or I'm staying in rural areas. I can ask for government or whoever is looking after Manrega in rural areas that I want to do work, and they have to provide me work. This was demand driven. Now it will be supply driven. Supply driven means there is a cap. How much money central and state government they have. Based on that cap, they will decide when they will give work. And if they have work, they will give you. It will, so many things will change. They are saying that they will increase the number of working days to 125. We have discussed they are currently not like average work which they are giving is around 50 days. So it's all on paper. Currently, what is happening? Most of the money is coming from center. Now they want to make it a centrally sponsored scheme, 60-40 ratio. Center will give 60%, state will give 40%. This article is saying that anyway you have taken away taxation power of states. You have introduced GST, this and that. So states' taxation powers have already been compromised. How will state be able to give money for Manrega now? The other thing which this article is saying that now there is a fad. What is the fad? The fad is of cash related scheme, directly transfer cash. 10,000 rupees just before Bihar election and all. So there will be less incentive for center and state government to prioritize Manrega. If it becomes supply driven, if states have to contribute more, because when it was demand driven, when we had a right, we can ask for it. Now we cannot. And earlier it was a decentralized model. We people were asking for work in rural areas. Now it's about center. Again, it is becoming centralized model. And Gandhiji name you have removed, who was associated with decentralization. He preferred a bottom up approach of model of governance because according to him, heart of India lies in its villages. So you are going away with all these things. Proposed law makes union government a dominant decision maker. So all these things are happening in this G Ramji bill. And let's see how this G Ramji bill. Manrega already underutilized. 7% households have managed to obtain full 100 days of employment. And the average work, we have seen it in previous articles. It was 50 days, right? And now you're saying that you will give 125 days. So this is just on paper, right? And it is becoming a centrally sponsored scheme. What happens in centrally sponsored scheme? Like there is a central sector scheme, there is a centrally sponsored scheme. In central sector scheme, all contribution comes from center. Central sector scheme, 100% contribution from center. In centrally sponsored scheme, it will be shared 60-40, 90-10 based on where you are located. So now states will also contribute. How will they contribute when you have already taken away their taxation power via GST and all? So their finances are already compromised. And there's so many issues going on with finance commission also. So how will they give money? So basically it will be a death nail for Manrega. Just like RTI has been killed, Manrega is also being on the process of being killed. Since direct cash transfer schemes are increasingly seen as politically rewarding, we have just seen 10,000 rupees just before Bihar